I'm Judy McCormick.
Just the first question is, how did you find out about the mission?
How did I find out about the mission? I've known about the mission for years because I grew up in this neighborhood. Our church has been very involved with the mission.
In that, the quilters group that you do at your church, and what was it, the Emerald?
First Church of the Nazarene, which is down the street, and we have a prayer quilt group. So we have a request for someone who needs prayer, and then we make a quilt for them, and that quilt goes to the church where there's little ties, string ties, and people pray and tie a knot. And then that's given to the person who the request was made out for. So there's 15, 18 women who are involved in that. So that's one way we distribute our quilts. Then I belong to Emerald Valley Quilt Guild, which is another group of ladies, about 130, who part of our mission is to make quilts for children, for the mission, for Scar Jasper Mountain, for all different places in Eugene. But mission is a big passion.
Can you take us kind of through the process of making the quilts in your group, what you guys do exactly, and bringing it here to the mission or wherever you bring it to?
So many different processes. We maybe had donated fabric to start with, and the gals have a number of different patterns they like to use, and we just put the colors together and out comes a quilt. The other thing would be, some of us are very scrappy people, and taking different scraps, it doesn't matter whether the colors go together or not, and put them together into a block, and then blocks go together, and pretty soon you have a beautiful quilt. Then there are other women who are, or men, that are artists, and their quilts probably never would be put on a bed because they are so beautiful. So there's all kinds of ways to make quilts, and that they can fit anybody. Like I say, if you're an artist, you can do an art quilt. If you're a scrappy person, do a scrappy quilt. If you have to have certain colors, that's okay too. So there's a big wide open availability of what you might want to do.
Future projects that you guys are working on?
Yes, we have future projects of meeting with Dave in the warehouse, and not so much quilts, but he has blankets that need to be cut down into twin size, and I don't know, 6 or 8 of us are going to get together 3 or 4 times a month and fix the blankets for the mission. I guess I would say we're always making quilts, and when you run out of family members that want your quilts, then you have to have another outlet. And so that's what I do.
Awesome. And then that actually reminded me, you mentioned hoping to kind of start a program for sewing here at the
Mhm.
mission. Can you talk about that a little bit, like what it would be in, yeah.
Okay, it's starting a program in the mission. At one time, there was a desire to have some ladies bring their sewing machines in and sit in the, I don't know, multiple purpose room, whatever it is, and just sew and be part of this group of people. I know there's women who've sewn and now don't have access to a sewing machine, but even if we could help them with repairs in clothing or whatever they might have, it would be a really good program for us as well as for them. So, not that we're going to teach them how to make quilts, but you know, an interactive, supportive group.
What would you say to like a volunteer who has a passion or a skill set that they want to use but they don't know how to, or like just reflect on you having that?
Right.
Yeah.
What I would say to any volunteer who likes to sew, the beauty of this program, I think, number one, is that I am not committed to be anywhere at any certain time, but I can sew and I can make quilts and pillowcases and come and help cut down blankets and make pajama bottoms for the men, cut jeans off to make shorts. Those are all things that anybody that has a sewing machine can do. And you can do it in 2 hours a week or every day if you want to. But I just think it's extremely rewarding to be able to have a place to bring these things.
Has art been pretty much a huge part of your life? Yes.
Has art
Great.
been a huge part of my
Is that-
life?
Quilting is obviously, it takes art, it takes patience.
It
Takes
does, but
passion.
I didn't take any art in school. As an adult, I took an art class. I think you either like colors and know how to put them together, or you're a real artist. And I'm serious. Some of these women, if these things don't go together right, they don't like making them. They'll get rid of a piece of fabric and go buy another one. So I've just had a lot of kids in my life, so. And maybe I should say that. How I really got into this was that both my daughters and their husbands have adopted 11 foster children. So when they were going through this process, it was, Mom, we need a quilt, so-and-so, you know. And so that's kind of how I got back into the quilting and not just the sewing. And so still doing that, but now they're growing up. Now I need another venue for these fabrics.
The kickstart to actually getting more people in here and like describing their passions and whatnot. And it's been like, as much as you do with the quilts and like really help the mission, help these people and
Right,
just
right.
their family members, giving them something to
Yeah.
lay down with. It's really going to help others feel more comfortable and maybe even bring more people in to create their own
I
projects.
hope.
Seriously.
I hope, really.
Seriously.
There is a group of, I think it's a Lutheran church, who do quilts. They put ties in them, and so I'll come along sometimes and say, let me take those home, and I have a big, long, it's called a long arm quilt machine, and then I'll quilt over the top of those ties, because if you put a tied quilt in those commercial machines, the batting in there clumps up. And so it's very easy. It takes me about 30 minutes just to put it on the machine, you know, zig all over it, and back it goes to the warehouse. And then that quilt will last probably 4 times longer than it would have. So it's just, you know, if you could just tell people, simple little thing like that, 30 minutes, what's the big deal? And you've made a big impression on the life of the quilt. So little things like that. It's like making those pillowcases. Takes you all of about 20 minutes to make a pillowcase. We quilters use 100% cotton. And we get fabric that's got polyester in it. What do we do with that? Well, make a pillowcase because they're washable, they don't wrinkle. It's wonderful. If you do cotton pillowcases, they're in a big wad. So use your scraps.
Yeah.
Use them up for a good reason.
Yeah.
Isn't that, it's what they do here. Everything
Yeah,
is resourceful
yeah.
from the kitchen to
Yeah.
the warehouse.
Yeah,
And it's like the embodiment of,
yeah.
I guess the mission be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is. I think it's interesting listening to some of the folks at the church, how many work here that we don't even know in the church work here. You know, those in the kitchen and those in the warehouse and all over the place. There's one guy works in the men's department and it's just, and you know what's really fun is the Undie Sunday. We have Undie Sunday a couple of times a month and all these things come in because people don't know how to donate. They don't know that if you just buy 2 or 3 packages, drive by the mission, drop them off, huge help.
Yeah.
But unless you have a group or a drive or a special thought, people don't do it. And it's like you guys say, there's a lot of us out there that have the time, probably have the money, just don't have the inspiration.